Welcome to my 23rd annual organ concert presented on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm Jan Kraybill, and it is such a great pleasure to welcome you today. Because of ongoing concerns at Community of Christ and in the greater Kansas City metro area, I've designed an online-only concert for you again this year. And although that format does present some challenges, and boy do I miss the energy of live audiences, this format also presents some unique opportunities, and one of those is that you may attend this concert from wherever you are. So again, welcome. We're going to have a great time together. The theme for this year's concert was inspired by the virus that has changed all of our lives, no matter what our careers or interests or occupations. Memories and Mutations is the title of the concert. And it's inspired by the creative ways that I have witnessed people learning how to live even with the restrictions of COVID-19. People that have figured out new ways of parenting and teaching and caring for each other and just being in the face of the challenges of our time. So we've learned how to create memories together, and we will still create memories together. And we've learned how to mutate our behaviors even as the virus itself mutates. There's such inspiration that surrounds me as I witness all of this creative activity. So Memories and Mutations is inspired by the hope that that gives me. And so I think it's only appropriate that we begin with Here Comes the Sun. I was just playing the smallest of the 3 organ consoles here at Community of Christ headquarters. And now we'll move to the main console, still in the auditorium. This organ has 2 organ consoles, one of which controls only the antiphonal organ, or the Bach organ, and the main console controlling all of the pipes in this instrument. This instrument was built by the American firm of Aeolian Skinner in 1959, and it truly is a magnificent organ. It has 9 divisions, or rooms full of pipes, and it sits in a room that seats nearly 6,000 people. This next piece is a masterwork by a master composer. It was written by Johann Sebastian Bach, and it's his most extensive work for organ. It's his monumental Passacaglia. A Passacaglia is a work that's based on a theme that's usually heard in the bass voice, in this case, in my feet. So you'll hear my feet play the theme first. It's 8 measures long, not very long, only about 20 seconds in this music. But from the restrictions of that 8-measure theme, Bach composes 20 variations. He mutates the theme, if you will, and he shows us such an endless supply of creativity. And just when you think that it's over, it's all that he can do with this theme, he writes a fugue as the final variation. And not just any fugue, it's a double fugue. And it ends with such triumph and such hope. I hope it gives you triumph and hope too as you listen. It certainly does to me as I play. Enjoy. Now we'll go to the Temple's organ just across the street from the auditorium. One of the great things that I can do in this virtual organ concert is take you to both buildings without you having to move from your seat. I did the math, and to show you all of the organ pipes and various controls at Community of Christ, that amounts to 12 keyboards for your hands and feet, and 706 individual keys and pedals, and 12,019 individual pipes, and thousands of controls. It's very exciting. This organ was built by Cassavant Frères, a Canadian firm, in 1993. The French composer Maurice Duruflé and his wife Marie-Madeleine Duruflé actually performed in the auditorium early on in that organ's lifespan, in the early 1960s. 2 decades before that, Maurice Duruflé honored the memory of his fellow organist and composer, ALAIN. ALAIN was unfortunately killed in battle in World War II at only age 29. Such a loss to the artistic community and to us all. I have a friend who says that we can keep departed loved ones alive if we will only repeat their names and repeat their stories. And in this piece, Duruflé does exactly that. He repeats his friend Jean Alain's last name over and over and over musically. Now, how does he do that? He follows a time-honored tradition in composing of spelling things with the musical alphabet. So if you remember from school, you can spell things like cab and baggage with the musical alphabet. But the only restriction is the musical alphabet only goes to G, and then it starts over again at A. And any other alphabet has usually more letters than that. And so to spell ALAIN, A-L-A-I-N, Duruflé followed another tradition, and that is just to start over with the musical alphabet, repeating it over and over until you get to the end of whatever alphabet you're using. So in his system, A, ALAIN, A, is the first letter of the musical alphabet, the pitch A. But L, because he started over, is D. And then there's another A, and then there's an I, and that happens to be the pitch on which you start over, and so that's also A. And then N is F. So the musical spelling of ALAIN is A-D-A-A-F. Sounds like this. Now that doesn't sound much like a theme, a very melodic thing to base a piece on, but Duruflé does exactly that. He writes this masterful prelude and fugue on his friend Jean Alain's name. honored to perform for you now the world premiere of a brand new work. It was commissioned by John Speller in memory of his beloved wife Lydia, who passed away just last year. Its composer, Benjamin Cornelius-Bates, wrote the following for me to share with you. Quote, "This work is in memoriam of the late Lydia Agnew Speller, 1952 to 2021, an Episcopal minister who served in many places across the United States. That includes a small connection with my life. She served at Holy Spirit Episcopal Church in Missoula, Montana, the very church I interned at as a young organist. Her husband, John Speller, told me that she often used the phrase, 'I wonder.' There are so many things in this world to wonder at, not just the things that confound, but beauty, nature, curiosity, physics, family, history, and even life and death itself. The piece is not explicitly about any one of those things, but it has 3 sections that try to capture wonder in 3 ways. The first part tries to capture the wandering aspect of wondering. Wonder inspires the mind to search for logic and reason, and sometimes the irrational. The second part is a meditation on the beauty of wonder, how it can fill the imagination with so many good things. And the final movement is about the overwhelming sensation in the vastness of the universe, God, nature, and love. There is a simple theme that connects all 3 movements, DCAE, with the words, 'I wonder,' sung alongside." End quote. I want to thank Ben Cornelius-Bates for writing this work, and especially to thank John Speller for giving me the honor of premiering it. I hope that in some small way, this helps to honor the memory of such a wonderful person. The next piece is also the result of a commission, a birthday tribute in 2011, a gift to a person named Eric Tyson from his wife, Jane. She commissioned the British composer Paul Ayers to write Suite for Eric. And he uses the same kind of system that Duruflé used to spell out the words Eric and Tyson. I'll play for you the 6th movement from this suite. It's called Intermezzo, and it honors Eric Tyson's love of theater organ music. It's been amazing the past 2 long years of this pandemic to watch the creativity of so many people who have figured out how to do what they love and how to do what they have to do, even though we're surrounded by this virus. I bet you're one of those people, and I'm one of those people. And when we share our stories, we can inspire each other. So in March of 2020, when the arts shut down because of COVID, I still had a strong pull to be a musician, to practice, and also to share music. And so the only way I could do that I knew of, was to take some videos with my iPhone and post them on Facebook. And so I did that. And a lot of you responded that you liked that. And so I kept doing it because I liked it too. I liked just sharing what was meaningful to me. That led to my sister and I having a conversation. My younger sister, Karen, she found online software that helped to make my sound quality better. And then there was a related software called VideoPad, and that helped to make my video quality better. And so now what I do is I bring my iPhone and I set it up on a tripod, and I choose the angle that I'm most likely to use for most of the video. Usually that's a side shot by about 3 feet away from me. And I set a recorder out into the room, because that's going to give me the best organ sound. What I want you to hear is what you would hear if you were sitting in the audience. So that's where my digital recorder goes. Now my setup includes a little better lighting because of a Christmas present that I just got from my husband, Alan. He bought me a ring light. And so that's been added to my setup. So what I do now is I record each piece about 6 times, because I want about 6 different camera angles. One at the side when I simultaneously record the sound, one for my feet because I know you're interested in that, maybe a shot of my hands close up, maybe a shot from above down onto my hands, maybe a longer shot so you get a sense of the room in which I'm making this recording. Usually turns out to be 5 or 6 different camera angles. And then I take it all home. I strip out all of the sound from the video files, and then I match up my sound file, my one sound file captured on the digital recorder, with its corresponding video file that I recorded simultaneously in the room. And so those match up exactly. But when I want a different camera angle, like feet, then I find that video file and I match it up note for note with the file that's running, the audio file that's running, and therefore you get to see a different shot. So it takes a lot of time. It takes about 10 hours for every 10 minutes of finished video. But during the pandemic, I had nothing but time. And so it was a good exercise of my creative abilities, a little bit of brain power, a little bit of learning as I became familiar, especially with VideoPad, but also with the equipment that I was using, how to use it better. And so I was grateful for all of that. The last piece on today's program by the Canadian composer Healy Willen is mostly a Passacaglia, following the same model that you heard earlier by Johann Sebastian Bach. But from the very first notes, you'll realize that this is not Bach. Healy Willen lived at a time when it was more fashionable to express a wider range of emotions in music. And so from the very first notes, you'll feel, at least I feel, spooky, and then more optimistic, and then mad, and then pessimistic, and then everything else within just a few pages of music. And then you'll hear my feet begin the Passacaglia theme, and Willen offers us a set of variations, but these variations too express a wide range of emotions. There are some that are playful, there are some that are very dark, there's one that's labeled as a funeral march, there are ones that use light little flutes, and there are ones that use huge trumpets and everything in between. And then right before the fugue, Willen writes this kind of a intermission, if you will, a musical intermission that still includes the Passacaglia theme, but it's easy to miss. And even in the score, Willen says to me as a performer, it's still there, it's in your feet. It's just broken up a bit, and there's all this other stuff that the hands play around it. And I feel like hope has done that too for us in this pandemic. It's been hard to find sometimes, but it's always been there. And then Willen gives us this fugue, and it ends so triumphantly. It's one of my favorite things to play right now. One of the things that I love about music is that it's a safe place to express strong emotions. I hope that this concert has been a safe place for you. And I hope that together we overcome this virus together this year. All good wishes to you, and thank you again for attending.